stop using this chemical because you're probably using too much of it. Let's find out why. What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we'll be talking about something that I always wanted to know but was too afraid to ask, and that is iron remover necessary? So far in my experience and what I've found is that it feels like iron remover is not as necessary as what people make it out to be, and there are some instances that you don't really need it, but everyone keeps using it. So today we'll be talking about why iron remover is overused and how it might not be as necessary as many people make it out to be. So let's get to it. So obviously, the most common use case for an iron remover is going to be your wheels, because whenever you brake, your caliper and your rotor is going to release brake dust that has metallic dust in it, and that's going to be on your wheels and making it look really dirty. So a lot of times, iron remover like this will very efficiently remove that dust and make your wheels clean. So let's see how it works. So now you can see even more clearly on the white foam, the red streaks around it. It's a lot of times what people like to see because it kind of shows that you're actually cleaning the wheel, but that might not necessarily be the truth all the time. So this is usually how the process goes. You put on iron remover and then you foam on some cleaning soap and then you get to contact washing. Now, by the time you get to contact washing, the iron remover will remove all the rust around the brake particles, and it will make removing the brake dust a lot easier. So I'll just quickly finish cleaning the wheel and show you guys the result after. So as you can see, it is spotless right now. It's super clean. I'm gonna try it off and I'm gonna get to the other side. On this very well-maintained vehicle, it's only been 2 weeks since it's last washed. Now this is the front wheel on the other side. So it's very dirty, but a well-maintained vehicle like this, what if I don't want to use an iron remover? And instead, I'm just gonna use a APC like this. Can I get the same result? Let's see. So of course, normally I would use a IK foamer or just any foamer instead of a spray bottle like this, but since I'm traveling. So you can see the APC breaking down the dirt and grime on this wheel still. You can see the streaks. So it's been dwelling a little bit. That's foam on soap. So same thing, I'm going to grab a wheel mitt and just start cleaning the wheel. So just like that, it's all cleaned off. I'm gonna rinse this off and see if it's just as clean as the other side. So I can tell you already, this is spotless as well. And you can see the towel, this nice clean blue towel is still staying clean. Now from this little experiment that I just did, I can tell you this is just as clean as the other side, and I cannot spot a single difference between the two, even though we didn't use iron remover. So what I can say is that for a well-maintained vehicle like this, even though, as you can see, how dirty the wheel was and how covered it was with brake dust, it washed off very easily with our iron remover. So it's totally unnecessary to use iron remover on this wheel every single time you wash it, even though it got that dirty. It was only washed 2 weeks ago, so the brake dust didn't have that much time to get embedded into the wheel and the paint. So just using the APC removed it completely. Now I keep stressing the point that this is a well-maintained vehicle, because if it's not, and you're seeing this vehicle the first time and it's a customer's car, then yes, for sure, the first thing I reach is the iron remover, because that wheel is going to be destroyed and you don't know how long the brake dust has been sitting on there and how embedded those things are on the paint. So what I'm saying here is, on a well-maintained vehicle, using the iron remover every time or every other time even is going to be a waste of time and money for you. Now, aside from my little experiment here and my experience, I do want to get an opinion from someone else. So let's bring in the expert. Hey, Ivan. So you've been teaching how we should combine the deconning step and the claying step together. That way we save a lot on the chemical, which is iron remover. When is iron remover necessary when it comes to the decon step?
So iron remover, unfortunately by a lot of detailers, is overused. It is a necessary step, especially if you're going to be polishing, if you're going to be coating a vehicle, then yes, by all means use the iron remover. That being said, like I say, a lot of people overuse it. They'll use it, once a month or once every 2 weeks. That's way too much. Yes, you'll see little red dots every time you use it, but it's not a necessity. Now, using it as a clay lube, like I teach, basically cuts down on the amount you're having to use. And what you're doing in that case is removing the metal with using the clay towel. And people freak out about, oh, but this piece of metal is in the clay towel. It's so small you can't even see it and you can't feel it. So the perforated or the synthetic material of the clay towel is more than soft enough to absorb it into itself. So no need to be concerned. But by using the iron remover in conjunction with the decontamination towel, what you're doing is you're actually plucking that piece of metal out of the paint. And now the only thing the iron remover has to work on is the rust stain that's left behind. And people have a misconception of what iron remover is. It's not going to dissolve any piece of iron. You can put a rusty nail in a bottle of iron remover, the nail is still going to stay. It's going to be rust free, but the nail is still going to be there. So it's not removing the iron.
Right. And you mentioned that when we spray on the iron remover and we see that little red streak, and people think that, oh yes, then I should have used iron remover because I'm seeing the red. So the rust is there. But
right.
And that does happen every week and every so often. Does that mean that maybe without iron remover, using a clay towel, it will remove it anyway?
Using the decontamination towel will remove the piece of iron. It won't remove the rust stain. And you have a light colored vehicle, and any, the minivan you did the other week there, light colored vehicle that looked like it hadn't been washed in 20 years. But that particular van being white, you're going to see rust spots show up. On a dark colored vehicle, you won't see them, because what happens is if you park a white car and a black car side by side, same place, touch both of them, the white car will be room temperature, the black car will be much, much hotter, meaning that any moisture that's on the surface gets evaporated off the dark colored car, and off the light colored car, it stays there longer, it lingers longer. So a little shard of iron can now form rust, and that rust stain is what we see. So on the back of a white car, you look at the back of just about any white car on the road, and if you look close enough, you'll see those little rust stains. Those are caused by those brake particles tagging in or adhering themselves to the paint. And when they adhere themselves to the paint, then that's when we have the issues of seeing the rust.
Okay, great. Then the question comes to, for average detailer who doesn't have business and they just want to take care of their own cars, how often should they use an iron remover?
Every 6 months or so. And by looking at the back of looking at the vehicle, especially the back, that's where you'll see it the most, or along the, close to the wheels on the side. And if you start seeing those little rust spots, then it's time to use iron remover. If you don't see rust spots, you keep going. You don't need to use it that often. And like I say, people get caught up in the marketing and get caught up in the sales aspect of it, that they have to use it every time. You don't have to use it every time. There's nothing wrong with using iron remover. It's not going to damage anything, or at least a good iron remover. There are some iron removers that contain solvents and they dilute them with other things. So look at your iron remover. But the DIY iron remover, you could use that every day if you wanted. It's the only thing that's going to damage at that point is your pocketbook.
It does remove the rust around the metal, and that rust could constantly be on your vehicle. But whenever you spray on the iron remover, it shows the red streak, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the rust spot on your vehicle is big enough for eyeballs to see.
Right. And that little piece of metal as well, the iron remover may not actually dislodge it from the paint.
Right.
So you're spraying on the iron remover, you see the red streaks, you're happy, you rinse it off, you think everything is done. If you're to respray after that, you'll get almost as much.
Thanks, Evan. So with that information, I would definitely say with a well-maintained vehicle, we can definitely skip the iron remover as much as possible and only use it once every 6 to 12 months if you don't live in a heavily contaminated area, or if there's visible rust spots on your paint and it's just due for another decon. So here I got a well-maintained white vehicle that I just did a rinse and swash. So we're ready for decon now. I'm gonna do certain spots with an iron remover and see how it's different than parts that I just do a regular clay towel. So on this side, I'm gonna spray on iron remover on these vertical panels where the brake dust will get on and see how contaminated this is. These are all the rust spots I can find. These are all the red streaks. There's not that much contamination here, and I can just skip the iron remover. So for a well-maintained vehicle like this, I will not go out of my way to use the iron remover. And if you do want a clay with a clay towel like this, you can just use rinse and swash as a clay lube or any soap. That will provide enough lubrication for a clay towel like this to get a good decon. And honestly, I've found a clay towel like this will do much more to the paint and make it much smoother than a iron remover like this. So whenever you see people spraying iron remover all over the car body and see all that red streak, that's honestly doing more to your eyes than it is to the paint. So to clay this vehicle now, I'm just going to spray on rinse and wash. And I'm gonna use my clay towel here that's been soaked in rinse and wash and just glide. And a lot of times when you're not sure if your vehicle is due for another decon, I'm running my towel here and it feels very smooth. That probably means that the paint is very clean and it's not very contaminated. So I would just skip over this and move on to the next panel. So I wouldn't waste so much time on a clean panel like this and try to find problems. If you can't see anything, you can't feel anything, the paint feels good to you, then it's all good. No need to pull out an iron remover and start dousing it and trying to find the red streaks. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a question I've had that I was too afraid to ask, and I hopefully showed you guys that it's not that necessary to use the iron remover all the time, especially if it's a well-maintained vehicle, perhaps your own. And if you wash it every couple of weeks or once a month, there's not going to be enough contamination collected for you to use it every time or even every other time. So you definitely don't have to waste your time and money to use iron removers on your maintenance washes, even on your wheels. But if you do wish to do so, there's nothing wrong with that too. It's just if you want to save time and money, I definitely will not use it every month or every other month. It's definitely more of a once or twice a year kind of thing. It's better to use it sparingly and rarely. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy using iron remover, then keep doing it. Don't listen to me because having fun is all this is about. But if you enjoy saving time and money and being more efficient, I really hope this video has been helpful and informative to you. And if it is, please leave a like and comment down below and let me know what you think about this video. So thanks again for watching. I hope you guys have a good day. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye.